Let's hope we're on, you guys. Pop in, say hi. If you've never come into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And this is the second live show that I do. This is Chatters Live. We do this every Sunday night. I also have a live show that I do Monday to Friday. What's my good cheer? It is inspiration, motivation. It is in our well being. And that is the content that I bring to my platform. But it is heavy content. So on Sunday nights, right, we have this show, Chatters Live, and I keep the chat replay on because we do have people who come in, after work or after whatever outing they're on, and they like to sit down, and maybe they're not so much socially inclined, right? We are not, especially if you hang out with me. I probably have a lot of introverted, a lot of shy, a lot of people that have built lives um, by themselves, with themselves, rather than those interactions that, right, we quite often see people have out there. I am one of those people myself. I have always been a very, very social person, right? It was my need to feel welcomed. That was my need to feel needed and to be part of that. And I had this conversation. I had so many great conversations this week. I was having a conversation this week about, how much I appreciate that alone time that I have. That time that's for me, that time that I can create, right? Um, a life for myself and to feel myself out and see what do I like, right? What is truly me. Now, I've always been an adventurer in my life, and I see you there, Owen, Andrew, Kathy's here. I have always been an extrovert, but that introvert is such a big part of me, especially in these past half a dozen years or so, when I feel how good I feel when I am not in close proximity of a lot of people, right? I've always been somebody, that has spent a lot of time on their own, but I didn't think it was in my pursuit of being by myself, right? It was always like, there were always big crowds, and I always felt like, I was an outsider and I didn't feel like I was included. So I would create these groups myself, right? And we had such a great mixture of friends in there, but very, very draining. And a lot of that was me putting band aids on everything, making everything run smoothly, right? Making sure that everybody was having fun, making sure nobody was having terrible issues or was being that wrench that gets thrown into the engine. And, right? Lots of times we'd have to oust people because of their inconsiderations, right? And we'd always do in a kind way, you know, mostly by avoidance and stuff. But but I'm very grateful to have had those experiences. I have to say they were a lot of fun. If they weren't truly healthy for me, they were so much fun. And it gave me an opportunity to recognize that even the beautiful people were struggling, right? Those people that we admire so much or wish we could be like. So many of my friends were in part of that in group, right? Because I wanted to be part of that in group. I wasn't one of those, I was popular, but I wasn't popular for my looks or right? Because the guys wanted to be around me, right? I was that ear. I was that best friend. I was that one that was going to clean up when you guys were having the party and drinking the beer and eating all the groceries in the cupboard, and right. And I loved that role because it made me feel needed. It made me feel included. It gave me everything that I thought I truly needed and I truly wanted, right? Past half a dozen years or so, oh my goodness, I tell you, I don't know how I got through those first 57 years. I have no idea. And again, in those conversations that I was able to have this week, I was saying, I was giving that credit to my father, right? Because I was my father's daughter and I felt we were in the same boat together, right? So we kind of shined on each other's lives and we made each other's lives, I think, a lot more bearable than what it would have been if, we weren't in each other's lives. But my dad's gone now, everybody moves on, and right, and I moved on, and I changed so many times, but in these past half a dozen years, to get that little bit of time for myself, to create that little bit of time. I know you're there, Nancy, come on in, or come on down, like let's make a deal, right? Like let's make a deal. Nancy's got this thing now that she won't pop into the live shows unless we recognize that she's there. So I'm assuming all those beautiful hearts are from Nancy, and there she is. There she is now. Hello, Nancy. I hope everybody is having an amazing. Oh, Sharon's in tonight too. I told you guys last week that Sharon had popped into my what's what's my good cheer. Yeah, her and Andrew popped in. It was really super lovely to have them come in. I hope everybody's having an amazing week. My work week is over. I am done in that aspect and grateful to be done with that, because just as much as I'm grateful to ground in my job after being away from whatever Cindy's doing. I'm excited to get back to whatever Cindy's doing, right? And because that's my creation, that's my time, and those are my choices. The job that puts out the roof over my head, there's somebody else's choices, right? Somebody else's choices. And it was a lot of fun. And like I said, so many great conversations that I had with customers, with the people that I work with, and really gave me quite a bit of insight. And it makes me feel like, again, even though I'm hanging out by myself, right? I'm not doing the party thing anymore. I don't care about creating those crazy groups that were just like, right? We'd all just plug into each other. It was, like I said, it was lots of fun, but I could see now how some aspects of each other would rub right and rub wrong on the others in that group, right? We are like the people that we surround ourselves with, and maybe that has something to do with it a little bit too, in learning to um, create that life for me where I don't feel that need that I constantly need to be surrounded. I think in my nature, right? I think I'm I think I'm a very introverted person. And if I knew 30, 40 years ago what I know right now, my life would have been so different. Now, would it have been any different, like in better than what my life is now? I don't think so. I just think it would have been different, right? Okay. Did you have a good birthday, Owen? Did you have a good birthday? just to let you know that, when I don't get things right, and I quite often don't get things right, right? And it's not in ill intent that I mean to, not remember. And I made a point of going in on his birthday to wish Owen a happy birthday. But you guys, I had, now where is it? Where's my bag? I had a birthday card for Owen, and I meant to go to the post office, right? And mail it off to him. And I'm bragging. I said, "Oh, you just told us today that it's your birthday, so you're probably gonna get this after your birthday. But I wanted you to know I was thinking of you." Well, his birthday has been a week's past, and this has been sitting in my backpack. His birthday card. I'm still going to mail it. Owen. But ignore that little bit of gloating in, right, saying that I was mailing it right away, because I didn't mail it. I didn't mail it right away. It's been sitting in my backpack, and I didn't make it to well, I did make it once to the post office, but I didn't have my backpack. And the envelope was in the backpack. But we'll send that out to you. I hope you had an amazing birthday, Owen. Okay. Happy Cinco de Mayo and my son's partner's birthday. Oh, happy birthday. What is Cinco de Mayo, Sharon? What is that? Is that just saying happy birthday in a different? I don't know. I've never heard it. I've never heard that phrase before. Happy Cinco de Mayo before. If you could let me know what that is. Um. Uh. Owen had a Owen had a quiet birthday. Quiet birthday. I like the quiet birthdays, right? I always tell my sisters, because we used to always, every single one of our birthdays at least, so it was a way of my family being having to come together for a celebration. So we celebrated everybody in the family's birthday, and it was the one time that we always made sure that we showed up, and it was a way for us to connect, right? But I would always tell them, like, right, I really don't want a birthday, but if you're going to give me a birthday, I want cake and hot dogs and pop, right? Because that's that childhood birthday, right? That child, that with the party hats and the streamers, those kind of birthdays. Um, oh, it's a Mexican holiday. I was watching a documentary, Sharon. Was it yesterday or the day before, on Mexico, and how cheap the housing is in Mexico, but also how unsafe it is now. There were two Canadians, I think, or three Canadians, three travelers that went missing in Mexico, and it's in big news right now here in Canada. Oh, right, because Spanish is your second language, so I would assume that you would try to make sure that these Latin holidays are celebrated. Yeah, well, we have different holidays here in Canada that you don't have in the States, right? Like our Canada Day is like your 4th of July. And we're patriotic, but oh my goodness, nothing even close to how patriotic the Americans are when it comes to 4th of July. It's very, very impressive how the Americans celebrate their national holiday, right? But here in Canada, we always have the fireworks too, but you guys are always doing the picnics and the barbecues and everything. Here in Canada, for me, Canada Day, um, it's a day off with pay. Right? And for a lot of people, it's like that. But in the States, it's really kind of sweet to see how patriotic you guys are. I mean, you guys grumble about your governments, but that's the thing, right? And that's the right and the prerogative of the minority, right? That everybody should have a say. It's what keeps the majority honest, right? Even when they don't want to be honest, when they don't want to be fair. I'm a big believer in majority rules. I think I kind of run this live show anyway. Chatters Live. It's run by majority rules, right? The majority said no swearing, and I never had no say in that at all, right? But they knew I wasn't big on swearing anyway. But I tell you, anybody swears on this live, there it's like piranhas. They just jump on it and it's just gone, right? It's just gone. So majority rules, and that's the way I want this channel to be run, right? Because the minority will always hold the majority accountable if the majority isn't doing it right, isn't playing fairly. Yeah, I hear big elections coming up in the states, right? Oh, okay. um yeah, I was looking, like, is Donald Trump actually running for president again? Is he able to run for president again? That's pretty incredible, because yeah, the things you hear, you think, how is that even possible? Oh, you took advantage to vote early, right? Are you part of that majority? Oh yeah, it's all secret. Here in Canada, the voting is all secret too. Um, for me, to tell you the truth, I have never voted. I don't vote. Um, my mindset is changed now, but the habit isn't. The habit of voting has not changed, like in that action part of it. But because of my understandings, of having a say, how the small person will hold the majority accountable, that maybe even the smallest and smallest of voices has an opportunity, right, to be heard and to be seen, and right, to call somebody out if they're not doing right. I sure would love to see mindset in the school systems. I think it is much needed. These kids in the school systems are there, and they're having problems at home, and they're trying to keep it together in school. When I was growing up, it wasn't the norm, right? Parents were very, very involved in what was going on at school and what was going on with the kids. My parents had this idea we were going to make our own decisions. We were pretty much feral, but also in that idea, both my parents worked, right? Both of my parents worked, and television first started coming in, and it was the babysitter, right? It's what I was brought up on, and by the time I was, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years old, I was already babysitting my sisters. In those days, you didn't have to be 12 years old. You didn't have to take babysitting courses or anything. But yeah, I was babysitting, and I'm trying to think now, the conversation about school, and I got lost. I went down a side branch too far. And unless somebody reminds me what I was just saying before I started spewing off about my dynamic family, I probably won't be able to get back on back on track with that. Uh about the voting, right? We were talking about the voting, and mindset is so important in the school system. I mean, it really truly did miracles with me. And if helped that much with me, even a little bit of help for the kids that are growing up now, which is the norm, right? Like I said, when I grew up, it wasn't the norm, right? You brought your report home card home, and if you didn't do your homework every night, my parents truly, I don't know if they didn't care about the schooling. I don't remember them ever forcing us to do homework. In fact, most of high school, I skipped out of classes, right? There was F's and D's and F's and E's and all those really high letters in the alphabet on my report cards. And I don't know. It was something, right? It really was something. But that voting, right? I think it's really important with my understandings now that I have a say, right? Putting mindset into the school system and be that example, right, of what happened to me as an adult that made it possible for me to move forward. Now if you could catch these little kids at 10, 11, 12 years old, oh my goodness, the opportunities for these children to have an amazing life, to create the best life for themselves as they possibly can, and maybe pass that along to their friends, because we are like the people that we surround ourselves with. The government calls mindset, and I'm not sure if I got it handy dandy right here. I pull it out every once in a while as lessons. Um, yeah, it's put away somewheres in this cupboard here. I wish I should have it out. But the government calls mindset an addictions modem, right? And obviously, little kids are not addicted, but they're in the training and they're in the patterning, which, right, without these lessons, could lead into those addictions. I could see that program that I went through could help a lot of people out, and I would truly love to see mindset get into the system. And without voting, how can I put my say in? How can I, right? I don't even know the candidates, and I'm sure there's going to be candidates that in their own personal lives and how they raise their children, or how they work within their businesses and companies, that, you know, they're going to know the mindset, and they're also going to know what a great idea it is to, right, to help these little kids out that are going to turn into adults with great big problems, great big emotional, mental, right? Possibly even physical problems, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'm going backwards because you guys are faster than I am here. I know where I left off. Andrew said, I already voted in the primary, took advantage of the opportunity to vote early. Andrew says, so far I've never missed an election in my life. I started voting at 18. Ah, smarty pants. Show off. Just teasing you. Just teasing you, Andrew. I think that's absolutely amazing that you, right, you stick it and you vote for what you believe in, right? That you vote for what you believe in. Maybe, I'm going to vote this year, you guys. I'm going to vote this year. I'm actually going to look at the candidates. I'm going to see who's for some of those things that I find to be very important. And this year, for the first time in my life. Honestly, you guys, I have never voted in my entire life. I think they have elections for something every single year for something. I don't know if it's the prime minister. I know a lot of people aren't too happy with the prime minister Trudeau, right? My dad was a big fan of his father and would have, no matter what, would have been a big supporter of Pierre. But we are always digging at the opponent, right? And maybe what I'm hearing in those comments and in those ideas, it's from the opponents, right? It's from the opponents of whoever is up against Pierre Trudeau. I'm not sure if we have an election soon. I'd have to. Oh, Donna! Oh my goodness! I haven't seen you in here for a while. How lovely to see you, dear. How lovely to see you. Um, Andrews. Oh, Nancy says yes. Trump is running, but I'm hoping he goes to prison first. Oh, so there's still a chance that he can go to prison. So he's still in the doing the court stuff. See, that's how I really track when it comes to these headlines, right? When it comes to politics, I'm not a big fan of the politics. I have my ideas. I've committed myself. This year, I am voting if there's anything to vote on. I did check the box, right? Just because I like the invite, right? And I can always just ignore it when the invite comes. But yeah, I'm gonna vote this year, you guys, and I'm gonna take some time in deciding who I'm gonna vote for, and I'm truly not gonna care about anybody else's opinion in it, except my own. What I believe, I'm gonna do it totally by my intuition, and I'm gonna look at the guy. I'm gonna look at his family. I'm gonna look at his schooling. I'm gonna look at his where he dips his fingers and his toes in his interests, right? Maybe I will take a look how the general public think about them, but I'm going to make that decision for myself as to who to vote for. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Okay, so far I've never missed an election in my life. I started voting at 18. I think probably this is a conversation that Melvin would be so excited to jump in and have his say. Right? Kind of miss Melvin tonight because he doesn't often get to spew his political ideas on this channel, right? Because we're really not a political channel, right? So, and he's very gracious and he's very polite and considerate. I That's why I love Melvin. Oh, you guys, Melvin just had his cataracts moved, so he's going to have some amazing eyesight. So when he pops into the live at some point, right? Because he does come into What's My Good Cheer, but he's missing the Chatters live lately, right? So if he does pop in, make sure you congratulate him on his new eyesight. I'm pretty excited for him, right? I couldn't imagine. I know without my glasses it's like looking through wax paper. I can see movement and I can see outlines and colors of things, but I don't see details. I don't see eyeballs. I don't see a nose or a mouth, right? It's just skin straight across, right? Um, um, but what did they do 500 years ago? What did they do 1,000 years ago? It's not like they would have had glasses way back then. And even if they did have glasses, I would suspect that glasses maybe 500 or 600 years ago, which seems reasonable that they might be around because crystals have always been around, that it would have been something that was for the wealthy, right? For the privileged. It wouldn't have been something for the people, for most people who were peasants or right or just low in that what do you call that, leveling in social hierarchies, right? Okay. Uh yes, Trump is running. I'm hoping he goes to prison, but first, lol, sorry, but not sorry. But that's Nancy. So if you hang out with us, Nancy is somebody who has a voice. She's very, I admire Nancy quite a bit. And I don't know why she has such a voice, but she does. And when we talk about introverts, Nancy isn't an introvert, though in what life has dished her out, there is every reason to appreciate if she was, right? But she's not that. She's not that person, right? Nancy has something to say, she'll say it. She'll chase you down to make sure that you've heard it, that you not only heard it, but that you got it. Okay. Sharon says, Nancy, I agree. Something is wrong with the system that allows a person to run for president from behind. What? Is he behind bars? Is President Trump behind bars? Well, I guess he's not President Trump, but is Donald Trump behind bars and he's running for president? That would be crazy if he truly is. Whether or not he's convicted, our laws need an upgrade. Sharon, that's so true. Things are always changing. We are not putting up. We were talking about this yesterday on What's My Good Cheer. We're not putting up with the guff that we used to even 20 years ago, right? The public is not putting up with that guff. And if the public doesn't put up with that guff, there is no hope for anybody to what is that idea, to invoke their authority in that, because again the minority, right, would become and be voiced as the majority, and it wouldn't be down. It kind of like what's going on with Ukraine and Russia. If that was 10 years ago and the Russian pulled that stuff, it would have been over in 2 days. It would have been over in 2 days. But because the whole world is watching them, right? Just waiting for them to make a wrong move. And they've made lots of wrong moves, but also as a civilized world, right? We are not anxious to jump into the mix of what is being forced onto another country. We are becoming more civilized, right? And yeah, and it will be that the minority that becomes the majority. I can see it. I can see it. The way the Americans in their own country and being so patriotic and loving your country so much that it must be absolutely infuriating to see it so broken. And people would say, well, it's always been broken, right? Maybe it's always been broken, but not so broken that that chance of it not being fixed was a chance, right? And I think we're living in this day where we're recognizing that, right? There are lots of little red buttons out there that people can push. And when people don't care for anything, right? Don't even care for themselves, right? Sometimes those red buttons, right? Those red buttons seem like a solution, right? Become an idea. So it is important to make sure, right, no matter what, that we as a whole, we as the public, right, we as human beings and not singular in the hierarchy of the governments, or not even the governments. You could have the hierarchy in religions, couldn't you? right? The Pope has a lot of power. Just using that as an example. The Pope has a lot of power. Gandhi had a lot of power. Mandela had a lot of power. This new Pope, right, from South America, right? Lot of power. There are people out there who have power for reasons that make sense, and a lot of them have power for, right? Sometimes it's in pretending in that, right? I've got the power and you don't, right? They lift up their feathers like peacocks and they look bigger, they look scarier, right? And then we just go, oh, okay, well, we don't want the violence and we don't want things to blow up. Let's just keep this calm. What do you want us to do, right? And then that authority that isn't worthy of that position is in power, right? Yeah, interesting. It's interesting topics, but I didn't know that Trump was in prison. Oh my goodness, I had no idea of that. But I have to say though, his son is being groomed right now to be a president one day. I've been watching interviews with him. I've been watching how he's been uh, acting and interacting with other dignitaries and stuff. And he has been a very good student. I must say. And he even recognizes that, right? That he has his own ideas compared to what his father had. But I wouldn't be surprised in the least. I don't even know his name. What's the president's youngest son's name? I can't even remember his name. Okay. Yes, Trump is running, and Nancy says she agrees. The wrong system that allows a person for president from behind bars, whether or not he is convicting, right? Our laws need to be upgraded. I hope everybody's having an amazing night. And again, hi, Donna. I'm just coming down to comments, and I see you there again. Um, Mrs. Cantor. Doesn't it sound Wasn't there a movie called Mrs. Cantor? I'm trying to think. I think there might have been a series of movies, wasn't it? Wasn't there one called The Ghost and Mrs. Cantor? And I think there were a series. I could be wrong. It could have been something else, but okay. Oh my goodness. Hello, madam. Hello, dear. Thank you so much. Thank you for popping in and glad to have you back. Dreek, right? Dreek, did I get it right? Let me know if I got it right because I don't have, it takes me a while to catch names, but if I got the name right, would you let me know? Or at least if I got it right, could you course correct me in the proper pronunciation of it? Uh, oh, he's not in prison yet. Oh my goodness. Um, oh, you like Biden, right? I like the Biden jokes. I have a friend, I don't know, some of you here have been with me, right? Uh, Cindy Vlogs. Do you remember Cindy Vlogs? And she was an urban explorer out of Nevada, I do believe. And she does these inspirational and motivational quotes on her Instagram, but they're always so funny because she puts a picture on there and sometimes they're contradictory, but they're always so on point to her beliefs and to what she loves, right? And I think actually Cindy is a Trump fan, not a Biden. Oh my goodness, Dave is here. Hello, Dave. Um, Oh, Mrs. Muir. Yes. Yeah, the Ghost and Mrs. Muir. Okay. Yeah, the one with the sailor, right? The sailor. Yeah, I remember that. Uh Dave says, well, today was Margot's and my 45th anniversary. Happy anniversary, Dave. Oh my goodness, and happy anniversary, Margot. I hope Dave treated you like a queen, like an absolute queen. So we went out to here, see, like I said, right? So we went out to a nice restaurant called The Keg. Yeah, right. I love The Keg. They make awesome nachos. I'm not a big fan of steak, and The Keg is actually a steakhouse, but they make amazing, amazing nachos, and I love the nachos at The Keg. I haven't been to The Keg in years, which would be familiar with. So I must sign off to do my husbandly duties. Night all night, Dave. Happy anniversary. All the best. That's absolutely amazing in a world, right? See all the love that he's offering up to his wife, right? All that love, and I wish that for everybody. I really do. If that's what you want or that's what you need, right? Yeah. You never know. It might be one of the characters that hang out with us here on Sunday night that you might end up with, right? You never know what life has in store. I love the not knowing. I love things being a surprise. I love flying by my seat of my pants and seeing how smoothly things can go. If anybody notices the hiccups as we're maneuvering and stuff, right? Um, Happy anniversary. Lots of happy anniversaries. Oh my goodness. We have the most amazing crew here. We have the most amazing crew here. Popcorn and you're so funny. You're so funny, Drake. Oh my goodness. Um, but somebody pick a subject and let's yap about it. We don't have a show and tell. Look at you can see the light outside is still light outside. It is now 20 after 8 and it feels like I'm just getting off work now and we're already into our evening. I put a meatloaf in the oven and I put it at a low temperature so the timing should be pretty perfect. I'll just a few minutes before the live ends, I might go turn the oven off just to make sure that it doesn't burn. But yeah, I haven't had meatloaf in a while, so for dinner tonight I'm going to have meatloaf. Ah, my mug. Ah, Sharon, you know I like my big mugs. This is the you go girl mug, right? And because we go for an hour and a half, you guys, an hour and a half, I need a big mug. I've been mixing up the fluids. So I've not been doing so much just coffee, but I'm doing hot chocolate. That's not good for me calorie wise, but it's fluids and it's non caffeine, no caffeine in it. I've been doing these fruit spritzers. They're really, really good. This one's blackberry raised raspberry. It's really good. I can't even remember what it tastes like, but I had a couple of sips last night because I woke up last night. Oh my goodness. Once a month for a few days, every month, it never fails. I get Charlie horse. I wake up in the middle of the night and I have to walk around my apartment in the pitch black without my glasses. And I usually will go to the fridge because when I have the Charlie horses, I know I don't have enough fluids in my system, right? I'm not a big fan of water and I don't take in enough water. I know. I lots of things. I don't vote, you guys. You know there are lots of things that that I don't do that I should do, right? But until it comes across your path, you don't have anything to work with, right? And let's have a sip. Yeah, it's really, really good. Blackberry, blackberry raspberry. Yeah, and I had to walk off Charlie horses last night before I could crawl back into bed. I'm a good sleeper, so as soon as the Charlie horses were done, I crawled into bed. I put the blanket over my head. My cat thinks it's time for hugs and pets and a little bit of playtime, and I just put the blanket over my head, and I'm instantly out within 30 seconds or a minute or so, right? Um, yeah, I've never had a problem falling falling asleep. I'm only mentioning that because again, it's in those some of those amazing conversations that I have this I had this weekend, right? And I have the most amazing customers, right? I work with people who care about me, and that's important, right? And of course, right, there's going to be stinkers around us all the time. Or if they're not stinkers, at the very least, they're people that we would prefer because, right, that little bit of extra time that we have for ourselves is for ourselves. So it's not out of being rude or anything, right? It's just taking that little bit of time for ourselves. Like a couple of weeks ago when I went, was it last week or it might have been last week, I guess. It was just starting to blend into each other. But I went out and I went for a bike ride and I went out and I, right, spent the afternoon flying a kite and, right, went picked up a coffee and had just a really beautiful uneventful in truth, right? It was fun flying my kite. I had lots of fun flying the kite, but I was just by myself, right? I wasn't with people or anything, and I enjoyed it thoroughly, right? Okay. Oh, backwards. You guys are going too fast for me. Um, Nancy says, also, how can people vote for a man that hates women and disabled people? He mocks the disabled and he took away my rights. No way. Right? And that's what parties do. They cater to one side rather than another. I actually heard a lady talking yesterday in an interview about how much it hurts her that he went against her husband who was in Vietnam and then her son who was in Afghanistan, and she voted for Trump two times, and she says the third time she's not voting for Trump again because of that disrespect and cutting funds and just in what he said in disrespect, right? Now, again, it's hearsay. It was an interview that she was talking about, and it is a perspective and an opinion, right? Right? Just as much as now, who was it that said that they were hoping for Biden? Was that somebody said that they were hoping that Biden was in, but then there were a couple of people saying they hoped that it was going to be uh, what Robert Kennedy Jr. Really? That is so interesting, right? The Kennedys back in the White House. Wouldn't that be amazing? I actually thought that Michelle Obama might have been very good president, right? Remember when Hillary Clinton was going for president and was being supported by her husband, uh, can't even remember, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, yeah, right. And I remember that, and I thought, you know what? If you had Michelle Obama as president, then then Barack Obama would be able to support her as a second, right? Because he's done it before. There's also the Canterville. Canterville. Oh, I think I saw that one too, but I don't remember. Canterville. Oh, but they were both comedies, I think. Uh, well, today. Oh, right. I read that one. Okay, let's come back. I went backwards a little bit. So let's just come down here to where I left off in the comments. Sharon says, I too have increased my fluid intake, but I still need to drink more water. I bought a big container of it at the store. I just need to open it. Isn't that always the thing? I bought a big 24 case of bottled water, and I put it all in my vegetable compartment in my fridge. And then I bought those drops that you put into the water to make them taste. They've been in my fridge 5 or 6 weeks now, and I think I might have drank two of them, maybe two of them, and not even complete. Most likely it was just pulled out of the fridge because I was having Charlie horses in the middle of the night, and I was looking to, right, get the Charlie horses to calm down and get that fluid into my system. Um, Andrew says he's drinking more water now too. Uh, oh, and you're just using milk. Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. I use the milk containers too, Andrew. They make great juice containers also. And those milk jugs too. I also, when I go on my trips, you guys, we're going to talk about my vacation. I booked it off and I've made some decisions. So let me come down in the comments, finish off these comments, and I'll let you guys know what's going on for my vacation this year. Vacations this year. um, drinking more water, drinking more water. As a disabled woman here, Nancy, I wish he'd go to jail. People crazy still want him in office. The spirit of the devil is in him. I think for myself with President Trump, I think because I get the scapegoat, right? Because I was a scapegoat in my life, and he is a go getter, but I'm a go getter too. Maybe not Donald Trump kind of standard, but I don't like to be pushed either. And I will push against what pushes me. And I think that Donald Trump has just gotten to the point where he just doesn't care about what anybody else wants. He just wants to do what he thinks is right, whether it's what he thinks is right for himself, his family, right, for the world. That he's just going to do what Donald Trump wants to do. But I also remember, and lots of people forget this, and maybe Owen remembers this, right? I found out after the fact, after this happened. But Donald Trump saved New York, like literally saved New York City. It was a few decades ago, but he bailed out all the banks. He bailed out all the banks, and he bought out all the abandoned buildings and all the what do you call that, derelict buildings and stuff, and he built them all up new. He built them into high rises and apartments, and again he had the Trump hotels and stuff too, and he actually saved New York City. Oh my goodness, we live in a time right now where the world needs to be saved, right? I don't know. Biden, I don't know. Right? I would much rather want a go getter, somebody who's going to get stuff done, but not at the Americans' expense, because you gotta watch over your, what is that, you guys? You have to watch out over your It's not congregation. It's not people. It's your I don't know, your public, right? And so yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. And I think the public is more understanding of each other than they are actually of the candidates themselves. Um, William says, well, let's just put it like this, people. Those that vote for Donald Trump likes the foolishness that and he at the end of the day, he has the spirit of the Antichrist in him. Don't know if you've ever seen it. I've never seen it personally, but then again, I'm a Canadian, right? So I'm not paying a lot of close attention to what's going on with Donald Trump. But in the same breath, I have to say I'm not paying too much attention to Biden either, right? So, and yes, always, and yes, Owen, and yes, Owen, I drink, and yes, Owen, I drink water, and yes, Owen, I drink what is, and yes, I drink water. Okay, I think William was just saying he drinks lots of water. Not that he drinks and he drinks lots of water, but maybe he does, right? Maybe he does. I hope not before he goes speaks at church, but Nancy says, on to something better. I have 2 new babies coming home tomorrow. Yay, I can't wait. A boy and a girl. So Nancy is into reborn dolls. They're babies that actually are like real babies. They're not talking and pooping and all that stuff, but they have the same weight. Are they anatomically correct? Nancy, can you let me know in the comments if the babies are anatomically correct? Um, but this is a passion that Nancy has picked up in the past few years. Nancy has had a pretty rough past few years, right? We all have ways that we cope with those everyday day to days or in those terrible moments that come into each and every one of our lives, mentally, physically, emotionally. It happens to all of us, and each one of us has a decision to make, right? Are you going to take a shot of heroin, or are you going to purchase a new reborn doll? Okay, and that's just an example. I'm just throwing that out there as an example. And Nancy has chosen to calm her system down with the reborns. And I think that's absolutely amazing. Every time she gets the new kitty, she's sending me family pictures, right? And she's finding joy in her life. And at the same time of finding joy in her life, she's building her brand because she makes videos around all these dolls. And if you don't know, Nancy had an infestation and lost all her possessions. The dolls, she had a real problem. I won't tell you how many dolls she had. She had a lot of dolls. Um, uh, she had a problem with giving up her dolls, right? So, in a consolation, not a consolation, but in a way that she could keep her dolls, she bagged them all up and she's put them away for 6 weeks. So the dolls might be coming out of seclusion pretty soon. I don't know. Let us know in the comments, Nancy. But it is her passion. And that passion, when all those stresses happened in her life, right? It could have been heroin. Not with Nancy. She's not a heroin person, but I'm just using these as example. It could have been alcohol. It could have been the pink ice donut, right? It could have been porno. It could have been shopping, right? You could have been a cleanaholic. Is that what you call them? Cleanaholics, where you're always cleaning things, right? You could have been totally compulsive in your thoughts that take you away from any kind of enjoyment in your life at all. And Nancy chose the reborns, and I think that's absolutely incredible, right? That if you're going to make choices in how you're calming your system, that you're making good choices, right? You're making choices that don't hurt you, that maybe might even help you, and don't hurt anybody else, right? In the same way. And yeah, so I just wanted to say that. Oh, so they might be. Oh, okay. So they might be bagged up for quite a while yet, eh, Nancy? Okay, so you have a few that are atomically correct. Um, uh, they are bagged for a year to a year and a half. Okay, good. So I'm glad you've got some new adoptees that have come into your life, Nancy. I am working on that bag of baby clothes for you. So it's good to know that it's not an extreme rush. It's going to take a while, but the new babies, the way you're pulling those new babies into the household, Nancy, you're going to need that bag of clothes soon. Okay, William said, they said God bless America, but America need to bless God and go back to serving him, right? I think we need to make some movement. I think we should pay more attention to ourselves rather than nitpicking and and going after other people. We're in such a difficult state. Like we'll never be able. It doesn't matter what we do. We'll never be able to get along with anybody that we oppose, right? Because we can't even get along with ourselves, and that's a truth. 100%. Oh my goodness, I see it everywhere. I see it everywhere. Mm. And I hear it expressed in the conversations too. And it's a wrench in that engine of ours, right? Because it makes it so we can't function properly. That we need those coping mechanisms. We need more dolls, and we need more pink ice donuts, and we need more alcohol, and we need more cleaning, and right. And wouldn't it be amazing if our lives all fell into place? If Nancy had a year, now isn't that a joke, eh, Nancy? If Nancy got a whole uneventful, like nothing going on year for the next year, no catastrophes, no hiccups, no wrenches in her engine, right? She might make different choices, right? She might make different choices. But sometimes we make those choices that stay with us our whole life. And sometimes it's in gratitude for what saved us, right? What saved us. The pink ice donut, for me, it definitely saved me. It right, it was my escape. It was my calming my system down after the fact, or calming my system down in the anticipation of what was coming, right? And there was reward, and I ate out of fear and stress, right? But again, I have to say thank you for my addiction, right? My food addiction, because if I wasn't addicted to food, and this is why the government calls it an addiction modem, because, right, most people who have these tendencies about them do have addictions. We are looking for ways to keep the system calm, right? So I am grateful. I am grateful for the pink ice donuts. And I'm sure Nancy is grateful for her babies. Okay, Nancy saying, check my messenger. Oh, where's my phone? Where's my phone? Give me 1 second. Oh, I'm walking like an old lady this week. I sure give her on my 4 days. Oh my goodness, they're so lucky to have me. And that's not saying in an egotistical kind of way, right? But I know my value, I know my worth, and I know what I bring to the table. And yeah, we rocked it 100%. We rocked it. Okay, I gotta check my messenger because Nancy has sent me something. Let's see what Nancy has sent us. And you guys can find me on Instagram, you guys, if you want to get a hold of me, if you want to have a chit chat, come to Instagram and you can send me messages through Instagram. Oh, this is the new reborn. Wow, that looks like a real kid, Nancy. This is the one she's getting tomorrow. This is what she's getting tomorrow. And what did she name him? Um, she doesn't say. What did you name him, Nancy? What did you name the new one? Who remembers the song by Ray Charles? The song was called Is America the Automatic? That song? Uh, is America the Automatic? That song, I have no idea. I have no idea. I wasn't a big Ray Charles fan, even though I know who he is. Sharon says, I do, the late, great Mr. Charles. Um, uh, Sharon says, beautiful. Oh, my phone got turned on with something. Um, and go away, go away. Oh my goodness. Okay, pull that down and get rid of it. There, it's gone. William says, whenever I hear that song, it makes me cry. Why? Because it is a true song. We need to really take the time to really listen to it. Well, why don't you give us the chorus? Do you have a moment, William, that you could write down the chorus so that we have a taste of the words, that it would impact you so much that it would make you cry? Oh, America the Beautiful. Okay, I get it. Lucas, America, America, God share his grace on thee. Ah, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Nancy. Right, things to smile about. Right? You need these joys in your life. I've been forcing, and it's pretty much what I'm doing is I'm forcing these small kindnesses to myself. Right? And I think, oh, I don't need that. I'm perfectly fine. Let's just take in another lesson, or let's get this done, or let's go help somebody do whatever needs to get done. And, and I miss out. And I've missed out. Well, I'm not going to say so much because I've always given myself to the best of my ability what I have wanted. I always have done that. It's part of the reason I think I was invited to. I think there's lots. I always say that, right? I think there's lots of reason. I think it's in all those ingredients that has allowed me to show up here the way I do. Um, William says, "Oh wow, that is a nice doll, Nancy." Um, and Sharon says, "And crown thy God with brother and sisterhood from sea to shining sea." And does it actually say and sisterhood, or does it just say with brotherhood? I'm curious because things do change, and it would make sense to me that Sharon would add and sisterhood, right? Don't forget the sisterhood, right? I could see Sharon doing that. Right? I could see Sharon. I could see Sharon do that. 100 100. That's so funny. Funny, right? But isn't that amazing, Sharon? That over these years we've gotten to know each other enough that we could read each other a little bit that way, right? Right? That even though I didn't know whether or not it was true words, right, in the song, that I kind of assumed that, oh, there's a possibility that Sharon kind of threw it a little bit extra ingredient there, right? That's funny. That's really funny. Um, and that's crown thy good. All those fancy words, right? Thy, right? Oh my goodness. The old way of talking. When I first started waking up to some of these diets, I'll say this just real quickly before I go in and talk about what we're doing for holidays this year. Um, when I first woke up to some of these ideas, I was looking to be inspired. I was kind of on a search for God. That's what I kind of was. And I used to go for evening walks a lot more than I do now. I go for at least one good walk every single week, but I used to do it every single day, and it was so helpful. But I went for a walk one night and I came by a board in front of this old Masonic temple, and they sell the old Masonic temples now, and people turn them into apartments or libraries or homes sometimes. And this group, um um ba ba Baha is the god that they, I'm not sure if it's the teacher that they follow, but they have very specific, how the Bible, how they use that old language. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Reading it, I'm not, right, because I don't think that way, right? Instead of, like, I wouldn't understand, well, I'd understand thy, right? Only because I know that it's you, right? Thy, right? But that fancy wording is very confusing for me. And but I went to this church. They had services every Wednesday night, and I think I went for a couple of months to this church, and then they would have midweek meetings and stuff, and I would go because I was interested in these different perspectives of God, and I love their idea of inviting every single religion, because I believe it takes all kinds to make the world, that this is an open platform right here. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or Jehovah Witness or Buddha, or, right. It doesn't matter. You're welcome here. We move with common values of kindness and compassion and consideration for each other. Like, that is a truth. We Those are those base standards, right? It's why the swearing gets beeped out immediately, right? But I really got involved for a couple of months, and I was asking important questions because I was very curious. I was just waking up to some of these ideas, and I had a lot of questions, and they seemed to have the answers. And then I told them I was having a hard time because they gave me, after 3 or 4 weeks of coming, I think they gave me a little Bible book with verses or insights in it. Each page was a bunch of insights, right? And I didn't understand it because of all this thee and thou, and, right, that really, really old language. And I told him I was having difficulties with that. And in this group, they send people away for class, for lessons and stuff. It's kind of like a retreat or something. And and uh and they said, like, everybody has to learn to read the Bible that way, right? They're not changing. There isn't a layman's Bible in the Baha religion. There just isn't. There is just the way it was said is the way that it is learned and understood, and it's the way it's taught, right? And so that was the very last time that I went to that church. I felt bad, but I knew the moment when there was no consideration for my fact that I was feeling things out, that no matter what, I was going to have a choice, that if I was going to take in their Bible, I would have to learn it their way. And I didn't want to, right? I was having such a difficult time with it, and it's not the way I talk, right? So if it's not the way I talk, why would it be the way that I should have to read? And so I moved on. Did I move on to a different religion at that point? I don't know. I think I found mindset not too far, maybe at the same time, and maybe that's what drew me into looking at these other religions. But it works so well for me because I have no true understandings what whoever, right? I understand there's God, right? But who am I to say who that is without 100% being hit by lightning and knowing for a fact? And I can't pretend to know something that I don't know. And so I move forward with mindset, with my base values, and it works very well for me. It works very, very well for me. I mean, look at these amazing, amazing people that come in and join me on Sunday nights. I love every single one of them. And I have to say, you guys, for the most part, the people that are in the live chat having that conversation have been with me for so long, all through my crazy changes. And they could swear by that. I've gone through some crazy changes in the years that we've picked up each other, because that's exactly what we did. They picked me up just as much as I picked them up. And literally, now that we're in it, in this mix every Sunday night, we're literally picking each other up. Oh my goodness, right? A lot of a lot of lifting up here, and this is an amazing place because this is uh, a brand full of caregivers, like literal caregivers. Yeah, I think it's absolutely amazing. Let's come into those comments really quickly and then go in what I've decided to do for the vacation, because we are getting close to 9 o'clock and I got a meatloaf in the oven. Ooh, let me turn that oven off and then I'll just tell my story right off the hop. Okay, here we go. William says, I told you every time I play the song, it makes me tear up. Wow. You're sweet, William. You're sweet. Um, where did I leave off? He said that go. I'm coming down here. America, America, God share his grace on thee. Pretty good, eh? I don't even watch sports. So Canadians who sing that song, right? It's because they picked it up at hockey games and wherever else they sing the national anthem, like on baseball. I know the Americans are big on baseball. We like baseball here in Canada too. We have the Blue Jays, but we're not we're not super serious like the Americans are. Okay, come down here real quick, and I'm going to tell you about my vacation before I go. Uh, Thank you, William. I'll look at that after my live show. I'll watch the whole thing, and I'll message you and let you know what I thought of it. Sharon says, I have a collection downstairs of all the world's main religious texts. I once planned to read them all for the insight and literally value. I got stuck halfway through the Old Testament and Rig Veda, the Hindu. So was it because of the fancy language, Nancy or Sharon? Was it because of fancy ancient language and the way they spoke that really tripped you up? Because, oh my goodness, it certainly tripped me up. Okay, you guys, I'm letting you know now I have booked my vacation. Oh, perfect. Then I don't feel so singled out in my my inability to stick with that church because it really did trip me up and I knew that it wasn't going to work for me instantly and that was why I never went back. Do you know what religion I'm talking about? I don't think it's called Baja religion. Maybe it's Baja religion, but I think it's the Baja church, right? And they are an open church, all different types of religion. Andrew says, I'm presently reading the King James Bible up to the book of Job. See, I didn't say Job, I got Job right. See, I went to Sunday school as a kid. I remembered a little bit. The old style does take some time getting used to, right? But there are people who can read in between the lines and everything in that and pick up secret messages in the Bible. Do you do that, Andrew? Can you do that? Because supposedly the Bible had a lot of hidden language and hidden meaning in it, right? Just by the way that it was presented in the Bible. So, this year, my vacation in September is from September 16th to the 30th. This year, of course, we're going to do Ontario. We're going to do Thunder Bay for Amethyst, but we're keeping on going, you guys. I'm driving. I'm going to do a long trip. I'm going to do 10 days or something or 14 days. Going to rent a vehicle, I think, for the whole couple of weeks of my vacation because I think I would like to go to Old Montreal. I want to also maybe hook up with some people that I know that I visited when I was in Toronto, if at all possible. Um, and there's a place called Bancroft, Ontario. I am very interested in the area because they are renowned for their crystals and their minerals and you guys know I love rock hounding, but not only is that possibility to go rock hounding there are a gazillion, I mean a gazillion old gold mines, abandoned gold mines up there. What else do you also find? Right? They're copper mines and stuff. This is where the crystals you find them in the trailings of the mining. Um, but I'm going to be going bottle digging in these mines. I'm going to take my metal detectors. I may take them both. Take my metal detectors with me, and I'm going to find the bottle dumps in these mines because these mines have been going since the 1880s and 1890s. Um, and I'm going to go do some killer bottle digging there too. So I want a little bit extra time. I might drive all the way through. Probably not. That's a long drive. It's like 22-hour drive. It took me 2 days when Sharon came up to visit me in Winnipeg. It took me 2 days to drive to Toronto, but I was exhausted when I got to Toronto and I didn't make too many pit stops. You guys know I'm camping, so the camping is a no-brainer. I got the new kayak, so we're going to be using the kayak. So that's the plan for my vacation, right? So we'll be filming that. And I'm super excited because I get that opportunity now, right, to add joy to my life. I'm not adding reborn dolls, but what I get to do now is I get to plan my vacation. I get the itinerary picked out. I get to look at the different parts. The idea is to come through the states on the way home, take the Trans Canada and Highway 17 to east, but on the way home, right? Maybe I can get a little bit of New York in. Maybe I can squeeze in some Herkimer diamond digging. Maybe. I don't know. I have to do the research, and that's the fun for me. So I'm going to be uh, deep in my own spare time that I'm going to make for myself, and I'm going to plan the most amazing, amazing vacation. Secondly, you guys know that I want to do the Arizona. I want to do the Grand Canyon. I want to do Montana, and I want to do Oregon and Utah for different types of crystals, right? And I want to do that trip so bad, right? Um, but it's too hot in September. And I can't wait until next spring to take some time off. Because, in truth, you guys, I'm ready for some time off now, right? I'm ready for some vacation now. And I still have a few months before I leave. So I'm going to spend that by making, the most enjoyable summer as I can, right? Put myself on a little bit of budget, keep working on myself and those things that, right, are bringing me up to par, right? So that I'm able to practice my craft that I'm now doing here on YouTube, but also, right, to be able maybe to bring a little bit more to my Instagram because, right, my show Chatters or What's My Good Cheer was started on Instagram, and I would like to spread out a little bit more, especially when we go on these outdoor explorers, right? When we go on these outdoor explorers. So we are going to do the Arizona trip. I'm calling it the Arizona because that's the destination is Arizona. We're going to do the Arizona trip in March. I'm going to take 10 days without pay in March. And I'm going to invite a friend named Crystal who loves crystals to come along for that trip, see the Grand Canyon. Maybe we'll rent an RV or something. And I'm going to invite my sister Alice to come along on that trip, right? Because she loves my trips, right? She loves my trips. So I would love to give my sister and my friend Crystal that experience and also give myself that experience. And because I can't afford in this moment two big vacations, right? It's actually going to be three. I'm not done yet. Even though I can't in this moment afford two big vacations, March, I'll have, right? I'll have my income tax return. It's a little bit of time that I could start saving again, right? I will be taking that time off without pay, so I'll have to make sure I'm caught up on rent and bills and everything for an extra month. But I think I could do it, right? I think I could do it. And if that vacation is split three ways, right? Like I said, me, my friend Crystal, and my sister Alice. Wow. Can you imagine the amazing content I can make? Can you imagine the amazing experience? Because Crystal is a family friend. Crystal has been in my life for probably, have to say, 40 years. For 40 years now, we have been friends, and she's best friends with my sister. But me and Crystal have been very good friends all our lives, pretty much too. She's like family, and because she loves crystals, I think she would love to come and spend some time with me and my sister, and also have this amazing experience of being able to dig for all these amazing crystals in all these amazing different locations and also be able to see the Grand Canyon. We're going to go to the Grand Canyon, right? I don't gamble, but if they want to go to Vegas, because on the way home, right, we'll have to drop my friend Crystal off, and Crystal lives in BC, so I'll have to drop her off anyway, and we'll have to drive through Nevada. So if she wants to do Nevada, I'm good with that too, because right, Nevada's got crystals too. That's my March vacation, you guys, right? Unpaid vacation. Then I'm going to be back hard at work because I've decided to do another vacation this year. Next, well, not this year because it'll be the next September, right? I'm thinking I'd like to go to my childhood dream. I had a poster of this country on my wall as a teenager. It was my dream to go there. And, it's time for me to manifest some of those dreams, some of those lifelong dreams. So I was thinking next September that we would go to Scotland. Does that not sound amazing? They have a pilgrimage that people do in Scotland. It's a 2-day trek, I think, if you get off, not in Edinburgh, but a city that's a little bit north of Edinburgh. If you get off there, then it's only a 2-day trip, and it is something that I've always wanted to do, right? I want to see some old castles. I want to touch some real history, and then possibly, right, make it to England, right? See the Queen's Castle or the King's Castle now. See the King's Castle. Maybe do a little bit of mudlarking on the Times or the Thames, however you pronounce it, and get on a plane and come home. I want to experience, you guys. I want to make up for those beautiful experiences that I could have given myself decades ago, but through my own limiting beliefs, my own lack of understanding of knowing that I could, right? That I didn't need permission, that through my own steam that I can make an amazing year of vacations. And so that's what I'm doing this year, right? Or within the next year, a year from September, because right, the first September we're going to do Old Montreal, we're going to do Toronto, we're going to do Thunder Bay, we're going to do Bancroft. The reason is right, I love rocks. I love crystals. If I'm going into retirement, I would love to live somewheres where I can bottle dig and dig for rocks. And I would like to check this place out, this area out around Bancroft. And if you want to take a look at it on the map and Google it, it's Bancroft, Ontario. So we'll do that. And it's 3 hours from Toronto, and I think it's possibly the same 3 hours to Montreal. So I would drive to Montreal first, and then I would drive to Ontario, cross the border, and then drive home on that trip. So we're going to do that trip. We're going to do the Arizona trip next March, and then we're going to do Scotland in September. This is the plan. This is the plan. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. I didn't know I was going to do it. I knew I wanted to go to Arizona, but I knew unless I went in this moment where it's still fairly cool, right? And I can't leave. It's not my vacation time. I had to book it off my vacation, right? That it would be so hot in September. I wouldn't be able to go. You went to church today. Did you speak in church today, William? Okay, last of the comments before we call it a night. And Cindy's going to boil some potatoes and have her meatloaf dinner, right? Have her meatloaf dinner. Uh, I'm trying to see how far I got to go back. I will be going out this next week and doing some videos showing some favorite spots in Seattle I like to go. Amazing, Nancy. Right? Amazing. Show us all the flowers. I love seeing the pictures when you send the flowers. Andrew says, that sounds great, Nancy. I look forward to seeing those locations. Nancy says, it will be 80 degrees at the end of the week, so I'm going to do some Seattle videos. Tomorrow, I think, is supposed to be a nice day here in Winnipeg. But I think I will probably make my outdoor day on Wednesday. I think tomorrow I'm going to take a day of rest. I'm still going to be doing lives on, right? I'm still going to do my What's Good Cheer. I'm still going to be taking in my lessons, but I think I'm going to rest, right? And recuperate from the 4 hard days that I put in at work. And then Wednesday will be my day to go off and connect with Mother Nature. Um, Andrew, thank you for listening to the Bible on YouTube. Andrew Scourby, he is good. Oh, okay. So William watches services on YouTube too. Um, and a favorite park of mine and some videos on the new construction they've done along the waterfront. They put in gardens and other things. That's amazing, Nancy. Let me know when the videos are up. William says, Cindy, do you have YouTube music? Check it out, Cindy. No, but I can pretty much pull up any music I want on YouTube. Almost everything is available for listening to on YouTube. I'll find it. Sharon says, make that dream reality. That's one of mine too, Scotland. Mostly Cornwall, England, though, and Ireland and Wales, and everything along the west coast of the British Isles. Well, oh my goodness. How long it was your passport good for, Nancy? Is yours coming up into expiry? I know mine expired this year and I had to renew my passport. I had a 5 year passport because I was cheapo. Well, I was poor at the time. That's all I could afford was a 5 year. But we got caught in the COVID and all that. So I only got to use my passport once for a trip to Minneapolis, but it expired, so I got a 10 year this time. I'm good until I'm 72 years old. Okay, you guys, that's it for tonight. Next week it's going to be show and tell. I got some amazing things in my show and tell. But also now we are buckling down because I'm making plans. I'm figuring out where the money comes from, all the camping spots, what camping spots I want to go to. I want to figure out my routes, exactly what cities I want to visit, right? I have to connect with people, let them know I'm going to be around, if, right? They want to get together for coffee or have a conversation, right? Pass along a little bit of positive energy, right? Oh my goodness. Oh, I meant that for Sharon, Nancy. Sharon, yeah, Sharon. I was asking if Sharon, I meant to say Sharon, if she had a 5 year passport or a 10 year passport. Because mine was a 5 year and I had to do it over again. I only got to use mine once. But it was really easy the second time. The first time I had to jump hoops when it came to the security and everything. The second time was a renewal, so it wasn't so difficult. It was just a matter of filling out a form. And I think I got my passport within a couple of weeks. My passport came in. Um, yeah. Isn't that something? I remember you telling me about the identity thing, Nancy. That's incredible. Okay, William says I've always listened to him. They have the auto version on cassette and now they're on YouTube in uh as the Bible, the King James version, Andrew. Right. Okay, you guys. That's my live show tonight. I will be back on Monday with What's My Good Cheer. We'll be picking a new word last week. We had the word, and I'm already going blank because I'm going in to the next week, the week. But the word we had, oh my patience. Oh my goodness. We had the word patience this week, right? It's a good word. It's an important word. Patience with yourself, you guys. It was a good lesson, right? A good lesson. Lots of times we think that we're not moving, that we're not getting things done, right? That we're that musher on the sleigh with the dogs, and we're like mush, mush, mush. And we do that to ourselves, right? So if you give yourself a little bit of appreciation, a little bit of kindness, and a little bit of consideration, that would fall in perfectly in this brand. Okay, you guys. See you next week if we don't see you sometime during the week. Have a great night. Bye.